Hey everybody, JB back with you once again, and welcome to Let's Play Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Maggie. So, what do you think is going to happen today, sir? Well, last time, we learned a lot about the shady business of Tenderlender, the loan company managed by one Furio Tigre. We found out that, he got into a motorcycle accident, or a scooter accident, in which he hurt Viola Cadaverini. I still can't get over that name. Who is apparently the daughter of a mob boss. And he's basically been trying to pay for her medical bills so the family does not come after him, which is pretty understandable. And it seems like that's kind of what's been at the center of all of the action going on and why he's been apparently calling in so many deaths and stuff. But I'm curious to know how a few things tie into this. We know that Gwen Elg was going to sell a computer program by the name of, or virus by the name of MC Bomber to Tigre and to the family, and so that they could use it to extort people and crash different police departments and, you know, all that stuff, which apparently has happened. I'm saying apparently a lot. But anyway, the other thing that's curious is that it seems like Jean Armstrong might also be tied in with Tenderlender. At least it was kind of implied that way yesterday when we went to the restaurant and the two of them were talking, he and Furio Tigre. And Gumshoe thankfully stepped in to save the day at the very end. So I don't know if he's like actually working for him or if he owes him a lot of money. It seems like that's the case because Viola was over at his place. So we know that at least is established, but I don't know if like he's actually in cahoots and he's being like blackmailed into telling everybody that, hey, you know, Maggie was the only one in the restaurant when the poisoning happened, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm curious to see where it goes. Yesterday's session didn't go so well and ended on a giant mystery. That's true, and we still haven't solved a single part of it yet. I'd say we solved some things. I mean, we solved what Gwen's whole deal was, and all that, so... Are you okay, Nick? Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. I guess we don't know why Gwen was poisoned, though. Like, that's still the $64,000 question, right? Like, we know that Furio Tigre and Viola, who I still think was the waitress that the old guy saw, or at least she was wearing a costume. I think they're the ones who are in on this whole thing, but we don't know why Gwen was killed other than maybe to silence him. I saw that little flash of doubt in your eyes. No, that wasn't doubt, that was, determination. Why don't I believe you? It's nearly time, Maggie. You'd better get going to the defendant's seat. Roger, don't let me down, Mr. Wright. I'm counting on you. Alright. Hey, pal. Hey, Detective Gumshoe. Quit stressing Maggie out. She doesn't need that. Oh, you're one to talk. How did you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh. You look like you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this will help. Oh yeah, it's that bottle. Huh? Have you taken up aromatherapy too? Not in a million years, pal. Don't tell me that you don't remember this thing. Yeah, we found it amongst the aromatherapy bottles, but it looked very different. Come to think of it, that doesn't look like one of those aromatherapy bottles. This is a small bottle that turned up in Tribulations' kitchen a couple of days ago. Wow, look at all these little bottles! Oh, they're aromatherapy oils. He's got so many they're overflowing onto the floor. Hey, wait a minute! There's one bottle that's different from all the others. Well, what do you know? And it doesn't have a label either. And it doesn't smell. We finally got the analysis results back from the lab. So? What is it? Is it the poison? I don't think it could be the poison because that was in the brown bottle, right? I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication. Oh, is this the missing medication? Medication? Yeah, for ears. Topical use only, apparently. Whoop! Sorry about that, my phone just went off and started playing something there. For ears, You mean... Yeah, it's a medication Glenn Elg was using for his ruptured eardrum. What was Glenn Elg's ear medicine doing in the kitchen? Well, at least we found it. We were wondering where it ended up. But that's a good question. Small bottle refiled into the court record. The victim's ear medicine, found covered in identified fingerprints in the kitchen. What about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that? Someone screwed up, so they only had time to analyze the contents of the bottle. Yeah, I know that you guys have been busy with the virus and all that. Another hour and they might have gotten something on the prints, but... that's going to weaken its impact as a piece of evidence. Okay, pal, this is it. Make sure your defense is impregnable today, got it? Today's trial. I'm gonna expose that guy for what he's done, or my name isn't Phoenix Wright. Well, his name isn't Phoenix Wright, we know that for sure. Alright, let's go. Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie Bird. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Oh, first cup of coffee. Ready and waiting as always, Your Honor. Very good. Then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday, we heard the testimony of Mr. Victor Kudo. He claims to have witnessed the defendant putting a powder into the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony was plagued with a number of problems. The mark on the rim of the cup shows that the victim drank from it with his right hand. But according to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand. Thank you, Mr. Godot. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. Yet the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, which made him effectively deaf in that ear. It's amazing how many contradictions a single case can have, huh, Nick? Those are kind of in the same category, which is a little weird to me. Ha! Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honor. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must turn with it. You've lost me already, Mr. Godot. Me too. Don't let the mysteries of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. You've got to change with the times. That's one of my rules. Are you implying that you've resolved these contradictions? You know the answers to these riddles? Oh, you know the answers to these riddles? That makes a little more sense. The old guy wasn't just throwing seed in here. He was throwing us off the scent. And today, I'll prove it. Very well. Oh, sorry about that. Let the first witness take the stand. Alright, we got Mr. Armstrong. And you are? Oh, bonjour, everyone. I am Jean Armstrong, the owner and head chef of La Tribulations restaurant. Enchante! Forgive me for asking, witness, but are you a woman? Oh la la, monsieur. As you can see, I am la pert and perky gentleman, no? That wasn't what you said yesterday. On the day of the incident, you were in Tribulations' kitchen. Isn't that right? With you, monsieur. Oh no, don't tell me you're gonna sell some oil still. Everything feels right. Oh, wait, that's not the... I'm not doing the judge voice. Everything feels right. I guess my voice for Jean Armstrong isn't that different from the judge's, but it has a not quite French accent. It's my terrible version of a French accent. But I guess he has a terrible version of a French restaurant, so that makes us even, right? Ha. Wow, he's totally unfazed. Doesn't anything intimidate this guy? Very well. Your testimony, please, witness. Please tell the court what happened that day at Tribulations. We, volunteers. I want to do it like in a higher pitched voice, but I can't do it without making it that unrecognizable. When it all happened, there were just 2 customers in my restaurant. I think that's more the voice I settled on before. I remember I was experimenting with some new art decos that day, like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. Mirror, huh? That might explain why Victor had things reversed.
Oui, perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. La cup, la earpiece, and la glasses. He would have seen everything in reverse, no?
Mirror?
Oui, un grand mirror. The most enormous mirror.
Wait, was this the mirror we saw in the kitchen? And suddenly, the mystery disappears. Like I said, the world keeps on churning, so roll with it.
That would explain the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum. The mirror would have made everything appear back to front.
What the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me.
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Alright, at Tribulations. I'm just gonna look here to see what we have from our clue buckets here. I mean, I don't think we can really contradict the mirror. Nope. Okay. Okay, I don't really see anything here that... Let's just go ahead and just start pressing. And who are the two customers exactly?
Why, of course, the young man who died, and the other not-so-young man. You are referring to yesterday's witness, I presume?
What about the other man Maggie says she saw at the table? Something tells me Mr. Armstrong isn't planning to disclose his existence. We need some hard evidence first before we can bring him up, don't we? I guess I'll just have to try a different approach for the time being. Okay, I'm wondering if that's a clue that we need to come back to that. Let's try pressing other things. You were experimenting with Art Deco? How come I never heard about that before today?
You are not familiar with the language of interior design, monsieur?
Please stay on topic. Now, why didn't you tell the court about this before?
But I did, just a few moments ago. Excuse me, Mr. Armstrong. This deco you mentioned, are you referring to some sort of decoction?
No, Art Deco. It is a style of design, Your Honor. He's talking about interior design. Walls, ceilings, carpets, that kind of thing.
Ah, yes, of course. That deco. I was trying to achieve a more effeminate look for my restaurant.
I feel like you do a pretty good job by that of that by yourself.
I was planning the most bold remodeling of La Decor.
Like, whoops. How big of a mirror are we talking about here?
Woof, something about 4 meters wide and, about 2 meters high.
Let's see, if I'm 1 meter is about 1 yard. Holy glass in a frame, that's huge.
I was intending to install it in the ceiling eventually.
The ceiling? Was there a mirror on the ceiling? I don't remember.
Why no, but I decided not to go through with it in the end.
What should I do? Should I ask him more about the mirror or not? Let's press harder. If you really had such a large mirror in the restaurant, someone would have noticed it. But there's nothing about a mirror in Mr. Kudo or Maggie Bird's testimonies.
But what?
Objection!
Oh, he was about to say something. You didn't ask, Trite. You only have yourself to blame for such sloppy work. What? A mirror was delivered to Tribulations the day before the incident. Really? As Mr. Armstrong testified, he was carrying out some design changes. And as it turns out, he didn't actually use the mirror in the end. This just doesn't add up. Even if a mirror was delivered to Tribulations, it doesn't prove that it was in the restaurant on the day of the crime. Ha! If you want to doubt someone, try it. Look in the mirror. Ooh! That was actually a pretty good one. I'll give that one to you, Godot. I'm sure the person looking back at you will be dubious enough.
So the witness yesterday had seen the victim reflected in a mirror.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm not quite getting how the mirror was delivered but not used, and yet we're establishing this possibility that Victor Kudo may have seen everything via the mirror, and that's why everything's reversed. So which is it? Normally, I'd expect people to know the difference between a reflection and a real object. Normally. How does normally come into this? That's lame, trite. Even for you. Huh? Are you trying to say that if something isn't normal, it isn't possible? Is that it? Or does that leave the porky-headed lawyer and the top-knot chick over there? And the ungodly cool guy with the mask over here? Well, trite? Ah! Not the hair! I do not have a top-knot. You kinda do.
Mr. Godot is correct. A lack of normality is no basis for discounting an argument. Bien, logic as one today.
I'm so terrible with this voice. Everything? He would have seen everything in reverse?
Oui.
Hey, Nick, we should take a second and think about what old Seedy said in his testimony. How'd he phrase it again?
The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question. You can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup. His left hand.
If he saw everything he described reflected in a mirror, then everything he said he saw on the left was actually on the right, huh? You know, that's a good point, and Gwen's spec thing, HMD thing, is still on the left in his profile picture. Well, it's on our right, but it's on his left. And that clears up all the problems with his testimony, I guess. Or does it? Ha. It's kind of hard to believe everything the faults of a mirror, but do you think old Seedy saw everything through a reflection? If he did, it would explain all the contradictions in his testimony. But that just makes the situation worse for Maggie. There's got to be something in that old man's testimony. We've just got to dig deeper. Okay, they're really pointing us toward that. So I'm thinking... Let me make sure of this. Yeah, he's wearing the earpiece, or the headpiece thing, on his left ear. Let's present this. Yeah. The coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back over Mr. Kudo's testimony for a second, shall we?
The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question. You can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt.
So, to summarize, we were told both the HMD and the earpiece were on the victim's left side. Now, if Mr. Kudo saw all that as a reflection in a mirror, it means both the HMD and the earpiece were actually on the victim's right side.
Exactamente. You see, monsieur. Now that you think about it, it's not so hard, no?
Unfortunately, that's where we run into a monumental contradiction with the facts. If Mr. Kudo really did see everything in a mirror, why is it that the HMD is now on the wrong side of his head?
Order! Mr. Wright is correct. If the witness genuinely observed the victim reflected in a mirror, then we would expect the victim's eyepiece to have been over his right eye.
How bitter. Trite, you should have a taste of this bitterness. It'll calm you down in no time. Are we talking about your coffee, or something completely different? You don't understand the way the witness thinks. Oh, don't give me that.
How he thinks?
You remember this, I presume? The I broke the vase, sorry apology, Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony? Exactly. The old man has one very grievous habit, other than throwing seeds. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind makes it. And what's the most striking thing about Mr. Elg?
Clearly, it's the victim's eyepiece.
And that's my point. The old man strikes again. Mr. Elg's ASMD made a big impression on the old man.
I saw the earpiece and those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh yes, they were both on his left ear. Do you hear? His left ear.
Ha! Well, trite. Irk. That's the worst, but best impression of Kudo ever. Wow, I really thought he was old seedy for a minute there. Godot's good.
Enough! I must agree that yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony.
Bad luck, Nick. Looks like the boil of a contradiction you found is just a rash. A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can it lie. So, what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the court. We're all ears.
Wait, I can explain. Please, if you look at the plans of the restaurant.
Alright.
Alors, is everyone sitting comfortably?
La Mirror was in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. There was only one seat from which you could have seen an image of La Victim. That was a seat at the table next to La Victim's. That was where La Old Man was sitting. After the terrible incident occurred, I moved La Mirror so it was not in the way. But naturally, I did not touch anything else.
I see no problems with the explanation we have just heard. From the table next to the victims, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in the mirror. What a naughty little coquette I am, confusing all the men like this.
Don't worry about it. We can keep up, except for the guy breaking out in a cold sweat over there again. Arg, I hate that guy.
You said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror. Are you quite sure about that? Volunteers, of course. Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you please.
Alright, the mirror. I'm just curious if there's something that spoils this in terms of what could be seen from where. I'm just seeing here if there's... Okay, so we have that. I'm curious to know how this picture could have been taken if a mirror was here. I mean... I guess it could be out of frame and the person could be staying in front of it. Alright, none of this stuff really has to do with the restaurant layout. Let's try pressing. So run this by me again. The mirror was here, correct? Wait. We? Really? Because I know if I were you, I wouldn't have put a mirror there. It would be in the way.
Objection!
Look who's talking, trite. Huh? You're obstructing my view, among other things. But, this is my seat in the courtroom. Trebian's charm is that it gives you the impression that you're the only customer. Temporarily placing a mirror in that spot would hardly be in the way. Unlike you, trite. I tell you,
Monsieur, the mirror was here, in the middle of the restaurant.
Okay. And where would that be?
Oh la la, look how you lean towards me. I always attract the younger boys. Maybe I should keep you in suspense a little longer. Mr. Armstrong, tell the court what you know at once. I attract the older ones too, you know, and handsome. Shall I tease you too?
I'm already seeing a very hot someone, so I'm afraid you'll be waiting for a long time. Is that very hot someone coffee by any chance? I bet she has mocha cream skin and cappuccino perfume. Exactly. Maya and I are on the same page.
Pierre, I will tell you. There is only one seat from which you could have seen.
Alright. Okay. I was just making sure something wasn't strange about that. So why can you only see the victim from that particular seat?
My monsieur, is it obvious, no? If you look at the plans, you will understand. The victim would have been reflected in the mirror like so. If you were sitting at the table next to him, you would have seen everything, no?
So that's the seat old Seedy was sitting on that day, when the poisoning happened. But couldn't you, like, also see from, like, the seat across? I'm wondering if that's the contradiction. The old man was sitting at the table next to the victim? Why does that seem kind of odd? Hang on a sec. Here we go. So, if the mirror didn't stretch all the way to here, he could have been sitting here and just saw the victim right there, right? Okay, that's not it. Oh, you know what? I just thought of something. Hang on a sec. Yeah, if this was the seat that Victor Kudo was sitting at, the vase is still here. Let me try presenting this. No? Come on, that's totally a contradiction, right? Unless the picture was taken before that. Maybe I'm misremembering that. Alright, let's just keep pressing. Did you move the mirror while Mr. Kudo was off calling the police?
Oui, exactamente. Or exactament. I carried it out of the restaurant's inn.
You moved a huge mirror like that all by yourself?
What can I say? I know how to pick things up, answer.
Heh. Kudo actually laughed at something.
Well, given the witness's physique, I suppose it is possible. Did you move anything else from the crime scene, Mr. Armstrong? I look like the obliging type, no?
Are you sure about that?
I touched nothing except the mirror.
Whoops. My window went inactive.
Mr. Wright, is there something the witness has said that doesn't match the crime scene?
Yeah, there is. I just can't put my finger on what exactly. Ha! Suffering from a case of heartburn, right?
Oh, I have just the thing for that! An oil with golden myrrh and frankincense!
Add a few drops to your coffee and voila. Enjoy. Focus, Phoenix. Breathe. I need to ignore those two and just find some evidence. It is pretty strange though, isn't it? I mean, nobody mentioned anything about a really large mirror. You'd think someone would have, but Maggie didn't, and neither did old Seedy. And the only logical explanation is that there was no mirror inside Tribulations that day. Now I've just got to prove it, somehow. Huh. What? So, obviously we need evidence here. I'm just wondering, like, what is it about the... What is it about the testimony that we need to contradict? I'm not really seeing anything else here other than that photo. I'm wondering if maybe we need to present the photo on this statement. I'm gonna look up the answer just to see. Okay, it is the photo and it's on the third statement? I thought we did that! Did we not do that? We must have presented on the wrong statement. I could have sworn we presented this on this statement. I'm trying to remember what I did wrong there. I guess I'll see it after I'm done. Anyway, this piece of evidence contradicts with the testimony we have heard, Your Honor.
The crime photo?
Yes, this photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist.
What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright?
Should not exist? Huh. Sounds like you're describing yourself, Trite.
Now then, if the defense would please clarify its statement. What is the something that should not exist in this photo?
Alright, I'm gonna say the vase. I don't know if that's correct, but that's what we were suspecting. I think it's pretty obvious that this is what should not be in the picture.
The vase!
Okay, I was worried for a second there that was gonna be a incorrect thing.
What possible connection does that have with the witness's testimony?
Your Honor, I'm telling you that there should have been no vase on this table. Because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence. This one. There's one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. And yet, as the court can see, there is an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not in fact sitting at the table next to the victim at all. Don't be an idiot, Trite. That's impossible. That seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from. Exactly. There's only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Tribia that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie.
Mon Dieu!
Don't try to confuse the court, Trite. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase, while the police were taking their time getting to the crime scene. Unfortunately, Mr. Godot, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary. In his own words,
I did not touch anything else except the mirror. Erg. Garg. Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself?
I was right. There was no mirror in the restaurant that day.
In light of this revelation, we return back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in his ear in which he couldn't hear?
Ha! You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. If you want to claim that the mirror wasn't there, Trite, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain what the old man saw? If I can answer this, then I'll be that much closer to the truth. I can feel it. Are you going to be okay? Can you really solve this contradiction, Nick? There's more than just this one contradiction, Wyatt. What do you mean? Remember what Maggie told us? There was another man at the victim's table. And there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudo's testimony. And I think I know the reason why nothing in this case is adding up.
Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer.
Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all the contradictions in Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. I don't think it's the ear doctor made a mistake. The victim was a phony? I don't get what that means, but that sounds like... That sounds like it would be the right answer. I'm just trying to think of what that could imply. Are they saying that Glenn Elg, the guy that was in... You know, I just thought of something. We were speculating not too long ago that the time of death being between 1:30 and 2:30 was one of those weird things that could allow enough wiggle room for the actual time of death to be something else. than what we thought. And so I'm wondering if the Gwen Elg that everybody is seeing is an actor that was quote-unquote poisoned to make it look like Maggie was the one who did everything, so there could be a witness, aka Mr. Kudo. And the real Gwen Elg was killed off screen, brought into the restaurant, plopped on the table while Victor went out to call the police. I'm going to go with that. That would make so much more sense. This case is riddled with contradictions. Yet there's one very simple answer that clears them all up.
And what is that?
The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events.
Aha! What?
Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Gwen Elg at all. It was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake. Don't tell me that Furio Tigre dressed himself up as Gwen Elg, too.
Order! Order in the court! Settle down or I'll clear the courtroom!
Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh?
What did you say?
Trite, are you saying that what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup? Yes. Someone pretended to be Gwen Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning, all for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo. Ah, okay, so we are on the right track. Maybe. Get real, Trite. Why would anyone want to do that? Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was...
The servant girl brought him a Javachino, but she put something in it. That's the servant girl right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well.
You remember her outfit well. I'm not necessarily certain you remember her well.
It's so hard to believe, but...
There is one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee. Are you insinuating that the waitress in the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true that there were no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but... It's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening. Yeah, but I don't know if we can trust him at this point. I mean, I feel like he could be easily blackmailed into saying something specific.
But that's right. Well, with this, if your restaurant really was a scene of such theatrics, you would have known about it, correct? Oh la la, this is most difficult for me.
No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath, after all. Was there, in fact, a phony at Tribulations that day? The defense demands that Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened.
The defense's request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day.
Wait. Oh, he's getting nervous.
La victime, Monsieur Elg, he came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. When he got word he won the lottery, Mon Elg became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. No, there were no time for a phony to do acting. Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in the restaurant after all? Je vous demande pardon. Forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly.
There's a lot of people who get away with lying in court in these games.
What you have just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong.
Oh, they finally called it out. Awesome.
I will decide how to punish you later.
Wait. I'm glad they're actually addressing that. That's nice.
For now, we will hear your cross-examination. Mr. Wright, if you please.
He took that perjury charge a bit too well. But I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination. Yeah, I am wondering if he's more involved than we think. Okay. Hang on a sec. Do we know... Okay, the time of death was between 1:30 and 2:30, and we know that the lottery was announced at 1:30, correct? I feel like this has got to be important. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. 10 minutes. Wait a second here. Yeah, Maggie being unconscious has got to be tied to this too. That would give the perfect. That'd be the perfect time for Viola to come in dressed up as her. I'm just wondering, is there something that says when the poisoning apparently happened? Like that's. We just have this range, and I'm just making sure we're not missing anything. This seems interesting, that the lottery show is 10 minutes. I'm gonna try this. No? Okay. I figured it might be worth a shot. Okay. Let's go back to the start. We'll just go through and press all the stuff. Was he alone at his table as well?
My wee, I saw him from the kitchen.
Yet the defendant, Miss Bird, remembers it differently. She swears there was another man at the victim's table.
Objection!
Ha! Unfortunately for you, Trey. Yesterday's witness also testified that the victim was alone. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite. What kind of coffee has he been drinking? It's not coffee, it's love. It's love that's bittersweet. Hearing Maya say that makes her seem wise all of a sudden. Okay. By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct?
He comes often for my special coffee.
I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience.
Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You're most welcome anytime.
I said it was worth one sip and nothing more. So old Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. I'm gonna say, what time was it? Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived?
Oh no, I cannot remember, monsieur. I believe we were told by a witness yesterday. The crime was reported at 2:25 p.m. by a kind of scary old man, sir. Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness? The incident happened about 20 minutes after he arrived. So the victim must have arrived between 2 o'clock p.m. and 2:10 p.m., no?
Just after 2, huh? Okay, that is definitely contradictory with the lottery thing.
Thank you for your help in jogging my memory, monsieur. You are wonderful. Ha ha ha. I can't sit here all the time and do nothing now, can I? The time of day will be added to the witness's testimony. Oui, monsieur judge. Everything I do it for you. Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? Ha ha ha.
I'm glad at least one person is in a good mood. He's even humming a song to himself. Okay. Now let's try this. There we go. I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong.
Quoi? What do you mean?
At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week, they announced the winning numbers of the $500,000 lottery ticket.
Wait, that must be the show Monel was listening to. I can't see any problem with this testimony, Mr. Wright.
I wonder... You say the victim arrived at your restaurant after 2 p.m., correct?
Oui, I'm sure of it. I remember it perfectly now. I know it was that time because I had just finished serving the lunch menu.
Get to the point, Trite. If you have one. That show is broadcast live at 1:30 p.m. And it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life.
It's on the air at 1:30?
Now, supposedly, the victim made some noise when it was announced that he had won. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2 p.m. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time.
No!
This victim we've been told about has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with a ruptured eardrum, catching a show that was already over. There's only one conclusion you could draw from these facts. This victim was an imposter, acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. Yes, there were 2 Gwen Elgs in Trabian that day. The real Gwen Elg, now dead, having been poisoned by the real killer. And the phony Gwen Elg, acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness.
It certainly seems that way. I mean, if that wasn't the case, how can you explain the time discrepancy?
Quite a performance, Trite. You were almost on a roll. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song. What is this? Music Theory 101? Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 p.m. The phony elk is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain then where the real Gwen elk is? Well, he could be in the kitchen. I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court. However, at that time the real Gwen elk was already dead.
That's certainly the obvious conclusion.
Thank you, Trite. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say. What? Now, I presume you can prove this theory of yours? Can you explain where the missing corpse went to? The missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. If that customer was the phony Gwen Elg, then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim?
Narg!
I still think it can be the kitchen.
The prosecution has a valid point, Mr. Wright. If your theory is to stand up to examination by the court, you must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution's question. Where did the killer hide the body?
Uh-oh. Yes, Your Honor. No conjecture, Trite. Let's hear some facts for once. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden. Evidence? What's with the intense pressure in here all of a sudden? Uh-oh. I thought I had him with that contradiction. But he's turned all around and backed me in a corner instead. Yeah, he tends to do that.
Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defense's theory and evidence. First, where was the body of the Mr. Real Elg concealed?
We don't know if there's... Do we know if there's a back door? I'm just gonna see if we can see in the floor plans. Or if this is just the restaurant part. Okay, no, it's just the kitchen. So, do we know for sure that the murder even happened in Trabian at this point? Because I feel like this question kind of hinges on the base assumption that we're running with here. Because if it did occur in Trabian, then they would have had to keep the body inside. And I feel like that's what they could be pointing at here. But if the murder occurred somewhere completely different, then they wouldn't really have to worry about this, right? I'm just going to make sure there's nothing that says that it absolutely happened inside the restaurant. Potassium cyanide poisoning. Okay, so we're claiming that this is a phony. Is that correct? Oh, wait. No, it has to be inside, because they would have had to, like, prop it out there when the police came, right? I'm gonna say inside. It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Tribulations.
Interesting. But where could a body have been hidden inside a restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court on these plans, Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor. Alright, the exact location where the body was concealed inside Tribulations is... Let's go over here. The body was hidden here!
I see.
Nice supposition. But the real question is, can you back it up? Uh-oh. Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location? I'm not liking the very general way that they're talking about this. I would say the medicine. Let's go with that. Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle?
No. I have never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I will use the very best bottles, monsieur. The highest quality only for me. Where was that bottle found, Mr. Wright?
Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen of Tribulations.
Eh? What? But I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils.
But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains a medication.
What kind of medication?
I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? That Mr. Elg visited an otolaryngological clinic and was given medication that day. You can't be serious. The defense has had the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results here. The contents of the bottle match the prescription that was given to Mr. Elg.
Whoa.
Gwen Elg's murderer hid the body in the restaurant kitchen, at which time this bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen?
Mon Dieu.
Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggie Bird. However, you were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back.
No! Order! This is an extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Mr. Glen Elg?
Never. I could not do such an horrible thing.
I don't think he murdered Glen Elg, but I think he was complicit.
No!
Mr. Godot!
The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. That's one of my rules. Do you have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now? Then I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear, my H-deficient friend?
Je vous demande pardon. Please, you must hear me out. It is a trap. Listen to me. Por favor.
I don't think that part's French.
Yo hablo español, Mr. Armstrong, and por favor is Spanish.
I'm only going to ask you once. Did you do it? I'm wondering if, did the judge mean to say you speak French and por favor is Spanish? I feel like that might be a translation error.
No. Absolutely no.
Let's hear it. You've got one shot. Right, Gramps?
Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godot's coffee mug awaits you, as does my gavel.
Why do they always say in the movies, I've got a bad feeling about this? Hey, it's Star Wars Day today, so that is very appropriate. Thank you, Phoenix.
Very well. Begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong.
Alright, here we go. The confession.
It is true. I ate la body in la kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse.
Ah, okay, he is being blackmailed.
But I did not kill him. I swear it. You must believe me.
You were forced? By who?
Who? I cannot say, or I will be erased.
Let's try a different question then. When Mr. Elk died, was he really the only person at his table?
There was.
Ah, there was another man. There we go. I knew it. Maggie was telling the truth.
You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright.
There's just one more thing I need to do. I gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer. The confession. Alright. Did you carry the body by yourself?
Oui, I carried him, and I carried Maggie, too.
Maggie, too?
When she saw la victim collapse, she fainted. I could not leave her there.
But why did you hide the bodies? Okay, this is what I'm curious about. What man? Who was he?
No, I cannot say. I fear for my life.
He's really scared. You'll just have to put the words in his mouth, Nick. Yeah, you're right. If he won't tell me, I'll tell him.
But why would you go along with this man?
That sounds like some language we heard from Viola yesterday.
You know, monsieur.
Yes?
Surely you cannot expect a young maiden to talk about such an embarrassment?
A maiden? You're a bit old to get away with that. And a bit too male. I can't finish the cross-examination without establishing his reason, so I'll just have to prove it with evidence. So you were claiming that all you did was hide the bodies? Is that correct?
Oui, that's right. If we are to believe you, Mr. Armstrong, you must tell the court everything. You must make clear the identity of the man who ordered you to do this.
He's already confessed this much. He might as well stop dancing around the real issue. Yeah, but he really doesn't want to tell us who the killer is. And sock it to him, Nick. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Alright. Did you carry the body by yourself?
Oui, I carried on.
And I carried... Oh, wait. Didn't we do this already? Oh, wait, we looped back around. I thought we had... still had some stuff left. Okay, so there's only these. Hang on a sec. So is there something that actually, is contradictory? I mean, this is not really a contradiction. I don't know what to do here. I mean, this connects Tenderlander to Trabian. Do we present this here? There we go. Okay, that is correct. You have a $500,000 debt, don't you?
$500,000? Oui, je suis désolé. I was weak and I borrowed the money.
This is Mr. Armstrong's Achilles heel. And that's why he couldn't refuse anything asked of you by this man. I think we know who this is. A $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you.
Oui, it is as you say.
Mr. Armstrong.
Le Tiger. He told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On the day in question, he was meeting the victim to demand that he repay his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I carried the body and line-conscious Maggie out of the dining area and into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I had seen.
I think we can now safely say that the man who forced your hand was Mr. Furio Tigre.
I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison and the lottery ticket that were found in the defendant's apron pocket, was that your doing as well? No, I knew nothing about that. Making it look like it was Maggie who had done it, I was not. It is despicable. Mr. Godot, you will summon this Furio Tigre as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged today, so we will adjourn for now. Proceedings will continue tomorrow.
30 minutes.
What?
The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand. Not a minute more. How the... Don't sit back and relax yet, Trite. No one knows if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way.
Very well. Your request is granted, Mr. Godot. We will resume once Mr. Tigre is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess.
Alright, to be continued. Okay, well in the next video, everybody, we will, thankfully, not have to worry about doing French accents anymore, hopefully. And, yeah, we'll get to hopefully unravel the mystery of what really happened at Tribulations. I think we have a pretty good idea now. So until then, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed yourself, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you next time. So until then, take care.